Okay, I thought this could be a fun idea for a video. So every year I do a bunch of mock drafts, and I thought, well, what if I go back and look at last year's mock draft and compare it to what actually ended up happening? So to be clear, what I'm doing here is not looking at a mock draft from what I thought was going to happen. This was a mock draft of what I said I would do if I was in charge of every team. So I think that can make it kind of interesting here. So yeah, let's just get into the list. This mock draft did include trades, so let's see what I thought I would do and compare that to now. So we'll go 8 at a time here. First, Caleb Williams. Everyone had Caleb Williams 1. If you did not have Caleb Williams 1, I'd wonder what your reasoning was. But yeah, that one was kind of to me, a bit of an easy choice, even if Jaden Daniels was the better player, who I did not even have. At number 2, I had Drake May at number 2, which, again, was not a crazy take at the time. Clearly, I was too low on Daniels. I did still have him going 3 here, which I didn't realize. I actually had a trade, interestingly enough, where the Patriots, of course, stayed at 3 and took a quarterback. I had them trading back, and I had the Vikings trading up, which did end up kind of happening, right? They traded up. They didn't go all the way up to 3. They went to 6. But yeah, I had them getting, or I believe it was 6. No, it wasn't 6. It was, wasn't not? I forget. But they traded up at a certain point to get J.J. McCarthy. Here I had them getting Jaden Daniels. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see how J.J. McCarthy plays, I suppose. Marvin Harrison did go forward to the Cardinals. Number 5, so I had another trade. I had the Jets trying to make sure that they got a wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. The Jets decided to sit back and select Alou Fashanu, which, hey, might not have been the worst idea to trade up for Malik Neighbors. He was really good. And then I had Joe Alt going at 6 to the Giants in this scenario, which, again, they got Malik Neighbors. They feel happy about. But yeah, those two guys are really good. Here's where I had a couple of question marks that maybe have not quite hit. I was really high on both Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton. Neither one of those have really lived up to the hype. Granted, position that takes time to develop, but yeah, we'll have to see more of them in year 2. Next group here, so Roma Dunze at number 9. I had that pick. I think that wasn't a horrible decision. Yes, there are tackles on the board and all that stuff, but they're actually fine at tackle. People don't really look at the roster. They just think the offensive line's bad. Last year they had tackles. It was the interior that was the issue. And again, I thought Dunze was going to be a great player. He still could be. Did not fully do that year 1, though. I then had the Chargers, who, again, in the real draft just took Joe Alt. Here I had them getting an extra draft pick and still getting Brock Bowers. Hey, I'm sure they would have liked that. I'm sure they're happy with what they have as well, though. But yeah, Brock Bowers definitely was high on him, and for a good reason. You then have J.J. McCarthy. I had the Patriots getting him. So, again, we'll see how that works. I also did have the Broncos still going with Bo Nix at 12. That was a bit of a controversial pick when it happened. I said I would do the same thing, though, in part just because quarterbacks matter, and quarterbacks are important, and it's hard to know, if they'll hit or not. And if you like a guy, go ahead and get him. So even though he wasn't my favorite quarterback, that's still why I would take a quarterback in round 1, because look at how he played year 1, right? Quinyon Mitchell for the, so this was a trade. I had them trading up, with the Raiders, to the Bengals getting him. Yeah, that's something they probably feel like they should have done, right? Of course, the Raiders are very happy with how it actually worked out getting Brock Bowers, but if he was off the board, I mean, this kind of would make sense, and certainly would have worked better than, Amarius Mims, who wasn't great for them right away. Leyu Latu, the edge rusher for the, I had the Saints drafting him. He ended up going actually 1 pick later to the Colts in the real draft. Fuaga was a fine tackle. Like, this is no big deal. I had Koy McKinstry going top 15, which was a hot take at the time. He was my corner 1 in that draft class. Played really well with the Saints once he finally got in there. The Saints drafted him in round 2 in the real draft. Again, they got Leo Latu. I think they're fine, but, I think McKinstry played well. And then Fuaga had him going at 16. Like I said, he's played well. Seahawks ended up getting Byron Murphy in the first round, so I was higher on Murphy than maybe I should have been through year 1 at least, and maybe so were the Seahawks. I don't know. So next here, this is interesting. So I actually had a team that had the Patriots, who they trade back up into the first round to get someone to help out their young quarterback or help out their young team. The Vikings were a team that actually did that in the real draft too. So it's kind of interesting how there was some parallels there with the Patriots in my mock draft, also getting J.J. McCarthy, Alu Fashanu, which again they could definitely use an offensive lineman. Although I'm sure that in this situation, well, actually, this is really interesting. I just realized it's the exact same pick as well. And that pick 17 was when the team that actually drafted J.J. McCarthy traded up in the first round. So that's a weird coincidence that happened. I had Michael Penix going 18 to the Raiders. Now, to be clear, this was a hot take at the time, having him go this high. Like, part of why I factored this in was I was like, well, because he's not going to go earlier, so I'll wait a little bit, but then quote-unquote reach on him at 18 with the Raiders. That was my logic there. But, as it turned out, he went 10 picks earlier and looked good. So, again, this might seem like I was low on Penix, but at the time, this was actually being very high on Penix. Jackson Powers-Johnson was projected to go around here. He fell to the second round, but ultimately, I think played like a first-round talent. Brian Thomas Jr. with the Steelers, Troy Fontenot ended up, we'll have to wait and see on how he ends up being, but definitely Brian Thomas Jr. was awesome as a rookie. J.C. Latham, who went pick 7, I was lower on him, and I think late first round feels more fair to what he was. Like, same thing with Dallas Turner, who I was lower on, and he ended up kind of dropping in the draft as well, but we'll see. He's a complete unknown at this point, Dallas Turner is, in my opinion. And then Jared Verse, I had going at pick 23. The Jaguars in the real draft selected. They selected Brian Thomas Jr. at this point. Jared Verse ended up going around 5 picks earlier in the real draft. Listen, I didn't think Verse was going to be quite the player he was. I mean, he's really worked out well. So yeah, I mean, I think the Jaguars. They'd be disappointed to not have Brian Thomas Jr., but at least would be happy to have Jared Verse probably in that situation. The Lions, Terran Arnold came in and didn't look great as a rookie. I do think Chop Robinson would have probably helped him out more, but I get why they made the Terran Arnold pick when they made it. Final 8 here. So first, Nate Wiggins of the Packers, who had a really nice season with the Ravens. Granted, that's kind of a dream situation. I also had at pick 26. So I had a trade where the Eagles traded up to get a wide receiver now, which is similar to what happened in the actual draft. They obviously wanted to get Quinyon Mitchell there. They still did get Cooper DeJean later on in round 2, though, so kind of funny how that worked out. And then the Chiefs, I had them trading up to get Ladd McConkey, who was a really good player for he was the second pick in the second round by the Chargers and was really good for them. So, like, I'm sure Chiefs fans are looking at this saying, yeah, wouldn't have hated if that happened. They traded up actually to pick 28 to get Xavier Worthy, who was still good, but I do think McConkey was better as a rookie. And then I had the Bills trading up to pick 28, where they actually traded back a little bit, they traded back to get to pick 33 to get another wide receiver, Keon Coleman. But here I had them going to Donnie Mitchell, who, I think Donnie Mitchell played pretty well for the Colts. You still want to see more out of him, but he ended up falling to sort of the end of the second round, but played all right though. This is where I had Terrion Arnold going, still first round, just a little bit later. I think the Rams are happy with how it worked out for themselves, getting Jared Verse and not having Terrion Arnold, who, again, I still think could work out. Just made some rookie mistakes. Year 1 is all. Still a good player. I had Graham Barton going at pick 30 in the real draft, who went a little bit earlier to Tampa Bay, and played solid for them. At pick 31. I did still have Marius Mims going in round 1, but I waited till pick 31. So again, I can't make fun of the Bengals too much. I still thought he was a first rounder. And then Troy Fontenot, who, like I said, book is still out on him. So yeah, interesting list all around, interesting stuff, but those are that was what I had from a year ago. I think the big wins you look at, like the Ladd, being high on Ladd McConkey, I feel like was good. Being high on Michael Penix Jr., I think was good. Definitely some slight misses, like, okay, it was a little lower on Jared Verse than the field, and maybe should have been a little higher on him. And then, my philosophy of, hey, just draft quarterbacks, it's always worth the risk. That works out. Definitely so far it looked like I've missed on Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton, but we'll see. So yeah, that's what I've learned from this exercise. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.